Count Dracula. Welcome to my house.
I found myself frozen into stillness by some mesmeric influence.
My darling Jonathan.
There seems a doom over this ship.
Come, sister, join us.
I know now the span of my life. God help me.
Come, free, go safely, and leave some of the happiness that you bring.
He is vampire, the undead.
Come to me, Arthur. My arms are hungry for you.
Monster! Give me my child!
Come to us.
Mina, my dear.
You were a fool to come here.
We've been waiting for you for such a long time.
What manner of man, of creature is this?
He is Nosferatu.
I am the prince of death.
No, not Jonathan, Mrs. Harker. I'm sorry if I startled you. You must be tired after your long journey. Welcome to the Convent Hospital of St. Joseph and St. Mary in Budapest. Or should I say welcome back? You came here last night, don't you remember? I am the Reverend Mother.
Budapest? Oh, yes, of course. I'm sorry. My memory, it confounds me on occasion.
No apology is necessary. Such momentary confusion is symptomatic of someone in your condition. An explanation, however, would be appreciated.
An explanation?
Of why you are here, why you have come back to Budapest, to this convent. If I may be blunt, Mrs. Harker, you are not well.
I am dying.
Indeed. And yet you have travelled here from England. An expedition that even you would own is arduous for someone in good health. You must realise how lucky you are to have survived such a journey in your condition.
I do. My doctors were certainly adamant that I were not. It will hardly be the first time that others have underestimated my resilience.
And do you imagine that our ministrations would be even less efficacious than theirs? Because I can assure you they will not. There is, sadly, nothing more that we can do for you, besides making your last days as comfortable as possible. But even that would be better accomplished in the bosom of your family and your loved ones.
Would that it could, but they're all gone. John, Arthur, Abraham, dear Quincy, my Jonathan, all gone before. I have no family left, no loved ones. I am alone. Oh, I shall join them soon enough, God willing. But before I can, there is something that I must pass on to you, Sister Agatha.
Oh, I wondered if you would recognise me. The Lord's work and the passing years have taken their due toll on this corporeal shell.
As they have of me. But I still remember the young nurse who cared for my Jonathan all those years ago, who sat by his bedside and heard all that he said, all the terrible things that had happened.
My child, your husband was ill, delirious. His brain was addled by fever, and the terrible things that he was talking about
were all true, as I believe you yourself may have suspected, although you would never speak of it. Oh, dear God, I truly wish that they were not, and that what happened to him were not merely the beginning of our suffering. Reverend Mother, you are part of the story, although you do not yet know the whole of it. And when I am gone, there must be someone who knows the whole of the story, who understands the great nature of the evil that we faced, and who is prepared.
Prepared for what?
For him. Reverend Mother, will you grant a dying woman's final wish? Will you be that someone? Will you take on the burden that I have carried for so long?
What is that?
It is my story. And Jonathan's and Lucy's and Abraham's and the others, told through our letters and our journals. Reverend Mother, you are a woman of faith. You understand that there is great good in this world, and also that there is great evil. I believe that what you will find written here to be both compelling and convincing, and I have faith that it will leave you forewarned and forearmed for a battle that I pray you will never have to fight. Will you read it? Will you keep it safe?
Tell me truthfully, Mrs. Harker, Mina, will it give you comfort if I agree to do this?
It will.
Then how can I refuse? Well, I see. It begins with an extract from your husband's journal. Would you like me to read it to you? The Journal of Jonathan Harker, 5th of May.
Transylvania. I've arrived at the castle home of my client, Count Dracula, after a journey of considerable length and no little discomfort. I confess I question the necessity of this expedition at all, for it seems that the business of purchasing the Carfax estate for the Count could easily be accomplished in situ in England, and the legal technicalities expedited through the judicious use of the postal service. The only explanation my employer, Mr. Hawkins, could provide was that our client was a trifle eccentric in his ways and preferred to conduct such affairs in person. And yet, mere eccentricity would scarcely explain the obvious fear the mere mention of the Count engenders in the people of this region. When they learn of my client's identity, they invariably cross themselves and exhibit a profound fear for my well-being. Yet, no one will make plain the danger that it is that they suppose I face. It is as if they fear, by doing so, this danger will somehow be visited upon them. There was only one, the landlady, from the final inn on my journey, who dared to speak of her fears for me.
Good sir, must you go, dear master, must you?
My dear Madam Olga, indeed I must. I am engaged in important business which can brook no delay. My client is expecting me.
The Count!
Yes, indeed.
But must you go today? Do you not know what day it is, young master?
4th of May, is it not? What of it?
It is the eve of St. George's Day. Do you not know that tonight, when the clock strikes midnight, all the evil things in the world have full sway? Evil walks this land tonight. Evil! Do you know where you are going to? Do you know what you are going to?
What I'm going to?
Olga! Where are you going?
You are determined you will not stay?
I cannot, Madam Olga. And my client's carriage is waiting down there below to take me to him. I am committed.
Are you a man of faith, young master?
I try to be.
Do you possess a crucifix?
I do. It was given to me by my mother.
Then you heed my words. You wear it for protection. Will you wear it for protection and for your mother's sake, will you?
I shall, madam, and for yours.
Olga!
God save you, young master. God save you.
It is, however, only now, once I'd finally arrived at the vast, ancient ruin that is Castle Dracula, and met my host for the first time, that I begin to wonder whether there may be some foundation in Madame Olga's fears for me.
I am Count Dracula. Welcome to my house, Jonathan Harker. Enter freely and of your own will. Come freely. Go safely and leave something of the happiness that you bring.
6th of May. I must confess to a certain unease in the Count's presence. I mean, he is most courteous, to be sure, but there is somehow a coldness in that courtesy, an air of implicit command that lends even the most innocent of phrases a sense of threat. His physicality, too, is disquieting. His face, ghastly pale, almost corpse-like in pallor, though his lips are a stark red. His touch and breath, too, might be those from a dead man, for the former is ice cold, and the latter is so rank it would nauseate even the strongest stomach. Only his eyes betray the fire that lies within. Some philosophers hold that the eyes be the windows to the soul. And if this be true of the Count, then his soul burns with a terrible hunger. It makes one wonder who would serve such a man, if indeed anybody does, because since my arrival I've seen no one, save the Count. He has been butler and footman and waiter to me and seen to all my needs, but declined to join me in the consumption of the gargantuan repast that had been prepared for me.
Forgive that I do not join you, or indeed raise a toast to my new friend, Jonathan Harker. But I regret I have already dined sufficiently, and I do not drink wine.
And today, even the Count was notable by his absence. A handwritten note left with my breakfast.
I have to be absent for a while. Do not wait. D.
7th of May. I have a profound sensation of isolation here, in my admittedly most luxurious accommodations, although there is one luxury notably missing: a mirror. Indeed, there was not a mirror to be found anywhere in my rooms, save the small travel glass I brought with me. It seems a trivial thing, but in my solitude, the trivial assume a strange significance. And rightly so, for I now know the reason for their absence, though that reason fills me with no comfort. I'd hung up my travel glass and was engaged in the reassuringly familiar task of shaving my somewhat careworn physiognomy when I felt a cold hand on my shoulder. Startled, I turned to find the Count stood hard at my right. And yet, when I turned back to my travel glass, I saw no sign of him in its reflection, not the slightest trace. Catching sight of the glass, the Count struck out with sudden ferocity, knocking it to the stone floor where it shattered.
A mirror is a wretched thing, my friend. A foul bauble of man's vanity. It makes one careless. And to be careless can be a dangerous thing.
I turned on the Count. Shock and anger momentarily overwhelming courtesy, only to find my host frozen, hand raised, and a look of apologetic concern on his pale visage. He then reached over to draw one ice-cold finger along my neck as he drew his finger away, I saw my blood upon its tip. Well, clearly I must have cut myself and had not realised. Well, I turned, took up a face cloth, dabbing my neck with it before turning to offer it to the Count, only to find him licking a red blemish from his upper lip. No sign of my blood remaining on his finger.
My friend, I must attend to various matters that will not concern you. Be assured you are welcome to explore anywhere in my castle you wish, except where the doors are locked, where, of course, as a respectful guest, you will not wish to go.
Sleep eluded me, so I resolved to begin an exploration of the castle, only to find door after door locked, closed, and those which would provide egress from this fortress both locked and bolted. It appears I am free to go wherever I may, but there is nowhere for me to go. This castle, is it a veritable prison? And I am its prisoner.
My young friend, perhaps you should now write to your employer, and anyone else you should wish, that you shall remain here at my invitation. Say you shall remain for 1 month, for it is both my wish and my pleasure that you do so. And I shall accept no refusal.
A month? I doubt my sanity would withstand another week in this unholy place. Tonight, I found myself gazing mournfully out of my window, my mind filled with thoughts of Mina, when suddenly my eye was caught by something moving down below me. Well, I saw it was the Count's head coming out of a window. It seemed as if he was merely gazing out, as if admiring the scenery. I admit, I almost laughed at the normality of the moment. But my amusement evaporated as he slowly emerged from the window and crawled, lizard-like, down the castle wall into the dreadful abyss below. Face down, his cloak spreading out around him like giant wings. Dear God in heaven, what manner of man, of creature is this?
My friend, I am pleased you have been exploring my home. But, if I may voice one word of caution, do not allow yourself the error of sleeping in any room other than your own. It may not be safe.
14th of May. Yesterday, beyond the door which was jammed shut, but submitted to force, I found a suite of opulent rooms. As I investigated my new discovery, lack of sleep took its inevitable toll. The Count's warning drifted through my mind, but in an act of defiance I was soon to regret. I was determined not to sleep in my rooms. As the sun set, my eyes closed, and Morpheus took me.
What do we have here, sisters? Oh, a gift from our lord or master, perhaps.
A sweetmeat for us to save. Enjoy at our leisure.
Sweet meats or sweet bread, perhaps.
Who are you?
Oh, it speaks. It has a voice.
Should I not?
Should I not? It questions, sisters, it does not cower.
Oh, sisters, it stands firm before us. So very firm.
I found myself frozen into inaction, caught by some mesmeric influence, unable to escape this tree of grotesques as they bored and poked and mocked me.
It is young.
It is strong. It is beautiful. So very beautiful.
What would you with me?
Oh, do you not know, sweetmeat? Can you not guess? What shall we do with this handsome creature?
Whatever we wish, sister. Whatever we wish.
Yours should be the first kiss. Yours is the right to begin, and we shall follow.
Do not fear, sister. There'll be kisses for us all.
How dare you! How dare you touch him? Any of you! How dare you cast eyes on him? After I had forbidden it! This man belongs to me! To me!
To you? For what? To love? You have never loved.
You never love.
Be silent! You know well I can love. You know well, for you have felt my kiss. You have felt my love. Is it not so? This man belongs to me. Say it!
This man belongs to you, my lord.
When I am done with him, then you may kiss him as you will, and drink your fill of him. But only when I am done. Now, leave us!
But are we to have nothing tonight?
I have provided for you. Return to your resting place. You will find what you desire there. Drink your fill, my brides. Feast upon my gift to you.
For somewhere distant, wherever ever those sirens vanished to, I heard the wail of some infant animal. Dear God, I pray it was just an animal. Before sinking into unconsciousness, awaking to find myself once more in my own room. Praying it was all some hideous dream, and yet knowing it was not. And if no dream, oh dear God, was it merely an animal?
Monster!
I sat bolt upright and rushed to my window.
Monster! Face me!
Below in the courtyard stood Madame Olga, with the landlady from the village who had tried to warn me of my peril, who had urged me to turn back.
Come out and face me, you coward! Come out and face the woman whose life you have destroyed! I know that you have taken her. I know that you stole my little Liesl away last night. And I know that you have killed her. Just like you killed that worthless shit of a husband of mine. A drunken idiot who invited you into our home. And why? Because I offended you. Because somehow you know that I tried to warn that poor fool Mr. Harker against you. Are you there, Mr. Harker? Are you there, fool? Do you see how I've been paid for my compassion? Are you somewhere up there watching? Or has he sucked you dry already? Have you, monster? Have you already fed on him? What does a solicitor's blood taste of, monster? What did my daughter's blood taste of? I see you there, monster. I see you skulking in the shadows. I see you. Come down and face me like a man, even if you are not one. Come down and face me! You truly are a coward, monster. You tremble before a mere woman. The great cat Dracula trembles before me and sends his wolves to end my life rather than face me and finish me himself. Well, coward, I do not fear death. I do not fear your wolves. I welcome them. They shall send me to my daughter. They shall send me to my weasel.
Listen to the children of the night. Oh, what's with the music they make?
"28th of May. My days are now truly numbered. Last night the Count requested, in the suavest of tones, that I write 3 letters. 1, that my work here was nearly done. Another, that I'd started for home. And the third, that I'd already left the castle and arrived at Bezritz. The final to be dated 29th of June. I know now the span of my life. God help me.
I long to go through the crowded streets of your mighty London, to be in the mist and the whirl and rush of humanity, to share all that makes it what it is. It's life. It's change. It's death!
25th of June. The day of the Count's departure and my doom approaches. Yesterday, a band of Romanes, apparently in the Count's employ, arrived at the castle bringing with them 2 wagons, loaded with 50 large, but empty, rectangular wooden boxes. They unloaded them, carried them into the castle to be filled, I now know, with earth, dug up from a ruined chapel from its very bowels. I discovered this despite the Count having securely locked my rooms from the outside. He sought to forestall me, but he had underestimated my resolve. Following his own example, I climbed down the wall of the castle, from my window to that which I had seen him crawl out of, and went in quest for the mysterious boxes, in the hopes that they may somehow be the key to my salvation. I found them, filled with soil and piled up together in the old chapel. All save one, which was set aside almost reverentially in an alcove, coffin-like, its lid laid beside it. I approached, half suspecting what I would see, but hoping against hope that I was mistaken. I was not. Inside, on a layer of newly dug earth, in funereal posture with eyes closed, lay the Count. His features and frame bloated and swollen like some ghastly slug. From his mouth trickled a thick stream of what could only be blood. Suddenly, his eyes snapped open wide and unseeing, blood red, and with an expression of utter hatred. Whether it was for me or for the whole world, I cannot say. I turned and ran in abject terror.
My friend, we must part. I cannot in good conscience keep you from your fiancé any longer. It is time for you to return to your beautiful England. Tomorrow, I will not be here. But all is ready for your journey. My carriage shall bear you to the village to meet the coach from Borkovina. Good night, my young friend.
30th of June. The Romanis are loading the boxes back onto the 2 wagons. The castle echoes with the distant sounds of the final preparations for the Count's departure and relocation to England, London, where he might, amongst its teeming millions, satiate his lust for blood. And I helped him to it. God forgive me. Very soon, the wagons and the hell-spawn cargo will depart this place, leaving me alone in the castle at the mercy of the Count's hellish concubines. But I shall not remain here for them to feast upon. I have resolved to scale the castle wall again, in the hopes that I may find a route down to the forest and then away for home. In truth, it is more likely that I shall fall to my death in the attempt. But at least it'll be a swift death, and I shall die a man. Mina, my love, farewell.
"29th May, from Wilhelmina Murray, soon, God willing, to be Mrs. Jonathan Harker, to her dear devoted friend Miss Lucy Westenra. My dearest Lucy, you must forgive my long delay in writing, but I have been simply overwhelmed with work. The life of an assistant schoolmistress is sometimes trying. Even now I have only managed to steal away a few moments from my duties to write to you. I have at last had word from my dearest Jonathan, which says he is well, for which I am grateful, but that he will not be returning for at least another month, for which I am not. It must be exciting to see strange countries. I wonder if Jonathan and I shall ever see them together. For now, I shall content myself with the thought that you and I, dear Lucy, shall be journeying to exotic Whitby for the summer. I long to be with you, where we can talk together and build our castles in the air. Tell me all the news when you write. I hear rumour of a tall, handsome young man. Your loving Mina."
1st June. My dearest Mina, someone has evidently been telling tales. I imagine they must be referring to Arthur. He's the son of Lord Godalming and simply divine. He often comes to see us. Or perhaps it was John Seward. He's a great friend of Arthur's who we met some time ago. He would just do for were not already engaged to Jonathan. He is a doctor and really clever. Of course, it might have also been Quincy. Mr. Quincy P. Morris, as he likes to introduce himself. He's another friend of Arthur's. Arthur has so many friends, you know. But Quincy's American, from Texas, and every inch the hero. I imagine each of them may have been seen promenading through the park with me from time to time. And now you'll never guess what has happened. 3 proposals in one day! Imagine! First dear John, then dear Quincy, and then dearest Arthur. Isn't it awful? I feel sorry, really and truly sorry for 2 of the poor fellows. For there is only one man who I truly love, and who I shall love always. Oh, Mina, I'm so happy I don't know what to do with myself, for I am to be Mrs. Arthur Holmwood. So, here we are, 2 betrothed young ladies. Oh, my dearest Mina, what castles in the air we shall build when we meet in Whitby. Ever yours, Lucy.
Second of June, my dear Art. We've told yarns by the campfire in the prairie, and we dressed each other's wounds while trying to land at Marquesas, and we drunk the health of the shores of Titicaca. There are more yarns to be told, more wounds to heal, and more healths to drink. Won't you let that be by my campfire tomorrow night? There will be only one other, our old pal Jack Seward. We both want to drown our sorrows over the wine cup, and to drink to the happiest man in all the world. We promise you a hearty welcome and a loving greeting. And we promise to carry his sorry carcass home if you dig too deep to a certain lady. Oh, please say you'll come, old friend. Yours as ever and always, Quincy P. Morris.
3rd June. Count me in every time, old friend. Stop. Forgive brevity of reply. Stop. Telegram's not cheap. Stop. Arthur.
4th of June. The Diary of John Seward, renowned doctor and rejected suitor. Low ebb tide and appetite today. Cannot eat, cannot rest. Diagnosis, acute alcohol poisoning, brought on by a night around the campfire with Arthur and Quincy. Further complicated by acute disappointment in my failure to win the hand of my beloved Lucy. But I must not dwell upon my loss, for that way lies madness and incarceration in my own asylum. No, I must put my personal failure behind me and immerse myself in my work, in the hope of at least professional success. And there is one patient that has piqued my interest. I propose an exhaustive investigation into the peculiarities of her mania, which, in my experience, are quite unique. Her name is Octavia. Octavia Renfield.
Log of the merchant ship Demeter, 6th of July. Took on our cargo at Varna. 50 boxes manifested to contain earth. Why should anyone wish me to convey dirt is a mystery. But, as a merchant seaman, I carry whatever I am paid to, and I am being paid very well. Set sail at noon with a fresh east wind. Crew comprise myself, captain, 5 hands, 2 mates, and a cook. All steady fellows who have worked with me before. "16th July. The crew seems strangely unsettled. First mate reported in morning that crewman Petrosky was missing. Could not account for it. Disappearance has unsettled crew. Crewman Olga came to my cabin in a panic of superstitious fear. Confided that he had seen a strange figure roaming the ship at night. in order to prevent further panic in others, ordered crew to meet at the back of ship and to search ship from stem to stern. The first mate, angered at my decision, said it was folly. But crew much relieved when after thorough search, nothing out of ordinary was found, and went back to work cheerfully. First mate scowled, but said nothing.
22nd of July, Whitby. This is a lovely place. Above the town lies the ruins of Whitby Abbey. It is a most noble ruin, immense and beautiful. Between it and the town lies the parish church, with its enormous graveyard all full of tombstones. It is, to my mind, the loveliest place in all of Whitby, for it lies right over the town and has a full view of the harbour and into the bay to where the headland stretches into the sea. I sat there this afternoon with Mina, listening to a local woman who seems to do nothing all day but stand there and talk to whoever will listen about the history and the folklore of the area, of which there is much we did not know, and apparently most, if not all of which is, as she phrases it,
utter twaddle.
She is a strange woman, refreshingly, if at times painfully blunt. Mina chastises me, for I encourage her shamelessly. Her name, she tells us, is Mrs. Swales, though she would not divulge her Christian name.
Do not ask it, my dears. None have called me by that name since my husband passed, and none shall again, till I do see the old bugger in the great hereafter.
Is he buried here, Mrs. Swales? Is that why you come here every day?
That it is, Miss Lucy. For the last 20 year over yonder.
I don't see a tombstone, Mrs. Swales.
Oh, the old bugger wouldn't have none. Said they only tell lies. Don't know if I don't agree with him.
Lies, Mrs. Swales? Why, how so?
Well, take that one there, Miss Lucy. Here lies Braithwaite Lowry, drowned off Greenland, 15 June, 1777.
Well,
if he drowned off Greenland, they wouldn't have dragged his damn carcass all the ways here, my dear. Stands to reason. They'd have buried the bugger at sea. Always supposing they managed to recover his bloody corpse in the first place. So how can he be under that stone when he's rotting away down in Davy Jones' locker, eh? What about that one at your feet, Miss Lucy? Read that one out. Go on.
Sacred to the memory of George Kenyon, who died in the hopes of a glorious resurrection, July 29th, 1873, falling from the rocks at Kettleness, beloved son of an adoring mother.
The poor woman, how sad.
My eye! His mother was an hellcat, and she hated the sight of him because he was hunchback, and he hated her so much he killed himself, so she couldn't take the insurance she'd taken out on his life.
Mrs. Swales, please.
Shush, Mina.
It's true. He blew the back of his head off with an old musket. That's how he came to fall off the rocks. He was standing there when he pulled the trigger. And as for hopes of a glorious resurrection, well, he was often heard to declare that he'd rather go to hell, because his mother was that damn pious that she'd be sure to go to heaven, and he couldn't think of aught worse than spending the rest of eternity with the old cow.
How marvellous! Oh, do tell us another one, Mrs. Swales. What about this one?
Oh, perhaps another time, Miss Lucy. That's 6 o'clock by the church bell, and my daughter be serving up tea. She do hate it if I keep her waiting. A pleasant evening to you both.
July. There seems to be a doom over this ship. 3 days of rough weather, and now another man has vanished. Crew asking to have double watch as they fear being alone. First mate angry. I fear there may be trouble, and that either he or others may do violence. 28th July. 4 days of hell, caught in a maze. No sleep for anyone. Crew worn out. Second mate volunteered to keep watch and steer alone, to give others chance for a few hours sleep. When morning watch came on deck, no sign of second mate, and wheel tied off. Agreed with first mate to go armed henceforth and wait for sign of cause. 30th July, nearing England. Thick fog, all sails set. Awoken by first mate, reporting that man on watch and steersman gone. Just myself, first mate, and 2 hands left to work ship. We seem to be drifting towards certain doom.
July. Oh dear. Poor Mina is so very anxious about her Jonathan. He has hardly written to her since he left, and when he does, his letters are so businesslike and not romantic at all. I know it makes her uneasy, and now I add to her troubles. I've begun to walk in my sleep once more, something I've not done since Mina and I were at school together. Mamma is most distressed by it. She keeps quoting stories of somnambulists plummeting to their deaths from cliff tops and roofs, and has persuaded Mina that she must lock our bedroom door at night to prevent this from happening to me. It is most tiresome. And it is all Arthur's fault. He was supposed to have joined us by now, but has instead remained in town to be at his father's side. Lord Godalming, it appears, is no less frail than poor Mamma. Mina believes I am simply fretting over my beloved's absence, and I will cease my nocturnal perambulations once he arrives. Perhaps she is right. Or, perhaps when he does arrive, I shall pretend to sleepwalk to some cliff so that he may come and rescue me. Oh, wouldn't that be romantic?
2nd August. Dear Lord, it's as if my crew vanish into thin air. Only me and first mate remaining, and he has lost all reason. Claims to have stabbed the demon that torments us, and that it dissolved into a mist at the touch of his blade. Claims that it is concealed in one of the boxes we are carrying in the hold. Has gone down into the hold with tools to open them all up. I did not stop him. What harm can he do then? August. I am alone. First mate threw himself into the sea, surrendering to lunacy or despair. I now know that it must have been this madman who got rid of the crew one by one and is now gone to join them. August. I have seen it. I have seen him. Dear God, the first mate was right to throw himself overboard. But I am captain. I cannot leave my ship. But I will baffle this fiend, this monster. Or I shall tie my hands to the wheel and my strength begins to fail. With them, I will tie that which it dare not face. And then, come fair wind or foul, I will save my soul and my honor as captain. Dear God, Blessed Virgin Mary, all the saints, please help a poor, ignorant soul just trying to do his duty.
Report for the Gazette. Whitby, 9th August. Sad fate of a brave captain. One of the most violent storms on record has just been experienced here. The tempest broke in the night with barely any warning and with such force that even strong men were unable to keep their feet. A schooner was spotted with all sails set, rushing toward the harbour. It was identified as the Demeter, a Russian vessel out of Varna. The schooner grounded itself under the east cliff with such violence that both the fore and main masts shattered at their base, crashing down onto the beach. As they did, an immense dog sprang up on deck from below and, running forward, jumped from the bow onto the sand, disappearing into the darkness. The Coast Guard boarded the ship to find all the crew missing, and the corpse of its captain, Dmitry Volkov, lashed to the wheel several days dead, with a crucifix in what was left of his right hand. Needless to say, Captain Volkov was reverently removed from the vessel and placed in the mortuary to await what is sure to be a very public funeral. Tragically, it transpires that he and his men died for nothing more than 50 large boxes of what is reported to be mould, or perhaps earth. Boxes which have already been claimed by the consignee. Of the dog, which landed when the ship grounded, there remains no trace. One wonders what tales that animal might tell, if it had the power of speech, of the ill-fated voyage of the Demeter.
11th August, 6 a.m. This evening I awoke with the chimes of midnight to find Lucy gone. Not just from our room, but from the house itself, and I cursed myself for having forgotten to lock our bedroom door, as has become my custom. I threw on some clothes, and reasoning that my Fred was abroad only in her nightdress, I took a big heavy shawl and ran out. As I looked about in desperation, across the bay the churchyard was momentarily illuminated by a shaft of moonlight. To my relief and dismay, I saw a figure in the distance, snowy white, seated or perhaps lying there in our familiar resting place. And there was something else. A dark figure stood behind the seat where the white figure shone, bent over it. What it was, whether man, beast, or trick of the light, I could not tell, but I all but flew up that familiar circuitous path to the churchyard, where I found Lucy, quite alone and asleep. I woke her as gently as was possible and threw the warm shawl over her, fastening the edges around her neck with a large safety pin. Then I led her trembling form back to our room, where I proceeded to remove the bodily evidence of our night's exertion with soap and water, discovering as I did 2 small puncture marks on her neck that had bled slightly onto the collar of her nightdress. I must have been clumsy with the safety pin and pricked her with it. But, as that is the only injury we appear to have sustained in our adventure, I shall count us most fortunate.
12th of August. Miss Renfield proves more intriguing by the day. At first, she seemed obsessed with catching flies, some of which she ate with disgusting relish, I must say, until she hit upon the idea of using her captives to tempt and detain spiders, which she also consumed with disgusting relish. until similarly resolving to use them as bait for larger prey, sparrows to be precise, which she has begun to imprison and to tame. This is a fascinating mania, and a finer distraction for a lovesick mind than opioids or alcohol, even Quincy's Kentucky bourbon.
14th August. For 3 nights I have awoken to find Lucy sat at our window as if gazing out at the stars, although she has been most definitely asleep. I do not believe she is in any danger of falling, but I still try to return her to her bed without waking her, for her health's sake. Well, this evening, however, she seemed more determined to remain, so I looked out to see what was demanding her attention. There was nothing save the night sky and a large bat that flitted about in the moonlight. As I turned back from the window, Lucy had lain down again and was sleeping peacefully. She looks so sweet as she sleeps, but she is paler than is her wont, and she grows somehow less vigorous with each passing day. I trust her feeling ill may not be down to that unlucky prick of the safety pin. I looked at her throat just now as she lay asleep, and the tiny wounds appear not to have healed. They are open, and if anything, larger than they were before. If they have not healed within a day or 2, I may insist on the doctor seeing about them.
15th of August. Yesterday, I refused a request from Miss Renfield for a cat. And today, she has eaten each and every one of her sparrows, whole and raw, disgorging feathers and the poor creature's undigested remnants a few hours later. And now she has set herself upon the acquisition of flies, and so the cycle goes on. I must invent a new classification for her, and call her a zoophagous maniac, a life-eating maniac.
16th August. We had a happy surprise at breakfast. Word arrived from Arthur saying that his father is feeling much better and wants the marriage to come off soon. Lucy is full of quiet joy and immediately went upstairs to compose a reply. But her mother seems both glad and sorry at once.
Ah, dear Mina. You have been a good friend to my daughter. She shall have need of your friendship, my dear, very soon. I only hope...
My dear Mrs. Westenra, what is wrong? Do you have concerns regarding Arthur's intentions? You need have no worry in that regard. He's utterly devoted to Lucy.
No, my dear. I have not the least reservation regarding that fine young man. Mina, I must tell you something, but you cannot tell Lucy of it. You must keep it a secret from her. Can you do that, for Lucy's sake?
Well, I can, for hers and for yours, dear lady. You may trust me with your confidence. I shall not betray it.
You know, my health has not been good. My doctors have told me that my heart will soon be too weak to sustain my life. I have perhaps a month, 2 at the most, and if I should suffer some sudden shock, even now, it may finish me. Lucy must not know of this. She would insist on postponing the wedding to take care of me. And I wish to see my daughter marry the man she loves before I die.
17th August. At last, I've had news from Jonathan. He is in a convent hospital in Budapest after having suffered some form of mental breakdown. Mr. Hawkins sent me on a letter from Sister Agatha, who has been treating him. My journey, such as it is all mapped out, and my luggage ready. for I am to leave in the morning and go over to Jonathan and bring him home. I do wish I did not have to abandon poor Lucy and her mother when they are suffering so. But they return to Hillingham tomorrow and were insistent that I must not stay. And so I go. I go to my Jonathan.
20th of August. A strange and sudden change in Miss Renfield last night. One of the attendants observed her becoming excited and sniffing the air like a dog catching a scent. Then she pulled her stool over to the window so that she might get a better view out over the grounds of the neighbouring Carfax estate. It is his opinion, for whatever reason, that she has become fixated on all the new activity out there. Apparently some new owner has just taken possession, and carts filled with large wooden boxes filled to the brim are arriving in the dead of night from Whitby, of all places. She was still there, with her nose pressed up to the bars, when I arrived during my morning rounds. Miss Renfield, won't you come down from there so we may converse?
I don't want to talk to you. You don't count now. The master is at hand.
The master?
Oh, I shouldn't speak of him. He would know of it.
Then perhaps we could talk once more of your pets.
Oh, bother them all. I don't care a pin about them any longer.
You don't? For why?
The bride maidens rejoice the eyes that awaits the coming of the bride. But then, when the bride draweth nigh, the maidens shine not in the eyes that are filled.
And she talked no more. So I continued on my rounds, returning later where she was once more at the window, but muttering some strange sort of prayer.
I am here to do your bidding, master. I am your slave. You will reward me, for I shall be faithful. I have worshipped you long, and now that you are here, dear master, I await your commands. I await your commands. Oh, master! Oh, master!
It seems that my zoophagous maniac is descending to communal garden religious mania.
24th August, Budapest. My dear Lucy, you must forgive my brevity, but I fear you must be patient for now, my every waking hour being devoted to the care of my poor Jonathan. But I simply had to let you know my news. Today, Sister Agatha sent for the chaplain of the English Mission Church, and at noon, Jonathan and I were joined in holy matrimony. I am now Mrs. Wilhelmina Harker. I feel very solemn, but very, very happy, and I trust that you too will feel as I do before too long. Your loving Mina Harker.
The Honourable Arthur Holmwood, Albemarle Hotel, 31st August. My dear Jack, I have a favour to ask. Lucy is ill. That is, she has no special disease, but she looks awful and is getting worse every day. I told her I should write you see her, and she finally consented. It will be a difficult task for you, I know, but it is for Lucy's sake, and I mustn't hesitate to ask, or indeed you to act. You are to come to lunch at Hillingdon tomorrow, 2 o'clock, so as not to arouse Mrs. Westenra's suspicions. The lady is extremely unwell and must be kept ignorant of all this. After, Lucy will arrange to see you alone. For my own part, I've been summoned to see my father, who has taken a turn for the worse. But I must ask you, please, write me your discoveries. Wire me if necessary. I am filled with anxiety, and I beg of you, please, old friend, do not fail me. Arthur.
1st of September. Dear Arthur, I am, I confess, confounded by Miss Westenra's symptoms and am unable to reach a satisfactory diagnosis. The pallor of her skin, the listlessness she exhibits, her difficulty in breathing, and her apparent memory loss all seem to point to a high degree of blood loss. But I cannot, but apart from 2 tiny marks on her neck that cannot possibly account for such a high level of exsanguination, I cannot see how or indeed when it may have occurred. And so, I have written to my old friend and master, Professor Van Helsing of Amsterdam, who knows as much about obscure diseases as anyone in the whole world. And I have asked him to come here to consult on the case. You may trust me, my old friend. He will know what ails her and how it may be treated. Yours always, John Seward.
"17th September. I, Abraham Van Helsing, have failed to save the life of the most sweet Miss Lucy. Failed her fiancé, Arthur Holmwood. Failed her paramour, Mr. Quincy P. Morris. Failed my dear friend, Dr. John Seward. Failed her mother most terribly. They trusted me with her life, and I betrayed that trust, although I did all that I could to justify it. 4 transfusions of the blood to restore the life to her increasingly frail frame, the last and least efficacious from my own body, knowing she was already lost, yet desperate to be wrong. Each time fate and human frailty conspired against me. I suspected the threat that we faced. I suspected it the moment I saw those marks on that poor girl's throat. And I thought myself so clever, with my garlic flowers and my crucifixes. In my arrogance, I believed they would be enough to ward off this evil, protect her from this creature that I now know stalked her. But I was wrong, and the innocent have paid the price. Not just Miss Lucy, but her mother too, literally frightened to death by her daughter's persecutor. At least she is at peace now. This evil can do her no more harm, for there are things in this world that are worse than death, and I will not let them have Miss Lucy. But I know now I cannot defeat this evil alone. I will need the help of brave souls against the danger they do not comprehend, one I cannot explain, for they would think me mad. Only when they see it, if they see it with their own eyes, will they understand. The terrible truth of what I know.
21st September. Today, we laid Lucy and her mother to rest. And now, Arthur, Quincy, the professor and I have scattered to our respective sanctuaries. For many a long day, loneliness will sit over our roofs with brooding wings. Lucy lies in the tomb of her kin. It is a lordly death house in a lonely churchyard far from teeming London, where the air is fresh and the sun rises over Hampstead Hill and the flowers grow of their own accord. Farewell, Lucy, my love. May you truly rest in peace.
22nd September, Exeter. We returned to England a week ago, Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan Harker. Such great joy for us, and now such great sorrow. Today a telegram arrived from someone named Van Helsing, saying that both Mrs. Westenra and Lucy had died suddenly and were interred at Hampstead yesterday. What a wealth of sorrow in a few words. Poor Mrs. Westenra, poor Lucy, and now poor Jonathan seems to have had some manner of relapse. We were in London today on business when he claimed to see his client, Count Dracula, in the street. We became most terribly anxious and distressed. I am much concerned, but cannot question him for fear of plunging him deeper into this mania regarding the Count. However, Jonathan too keeps a journal, which he maintained while in Transylvania. In Budapest, he placed it in my care, making me swear to keep it safe and to never read it without his express leave. But I now feel that the time has come when I must open that parcel and know what is written. Jonathan, I know you will forgive me if I do wrong, but it is for your own dear sake.
The Gazette, 25th September. A Hampstead mystery. The neighbourhood of Hampstead is just at present plagued with a series of strange events. Over the past 3 days, several cases have occurred of young children straying from home or neglecting to return from their playing on the heath. In all these cases, the children were much too young to give any properly intelligible account of themselves. It's always been late in the evening when they've been missed, and on 2 occasions, the children have been gone until early the following morning. In all cases, the children claim to have been in the company of a bloofer lady, though this is assumed to be the fanciful invention of the first child to have gone missing, which has gained notoriety among the other children in the area. Distressingly, however, the children have been slightly torn or wounded in the throat. Wounds that seem such as might be made by a rat or a small dog. The police of the division have been instructed to keep a sharp lookout for any straying children, especially when very young, in and around Hampstead Heath, and for any stray dog which may be about.
That terrible account of Jonathan's has upset me so. The worst part is that I do not know if there is any truth in it. Is it purely a product of his brain fever, or had he some cause for it all? And yet, that man he saw yesterday, he seemed quite certain of him. And there seems to be through it all some thread of continuity. That fearful Count was coming to London. If it should be, and he came to London with its teeming millions, then there may be a solemn duty, and if it come, we must not shrink from it. I shall be prepared. I shall get my typewriter this very hour and begin transcribing. Then we shall be ready for other eyes if required. But whose eyes might they be?
24th September. To Mrs. Harker, in confidence. Dear Madam, I am a friend of Dr. John Seward, and for a brief time of your close friend, Miss Lucy Westenra. If you recall, I telegraphed to inform you of her sad death and that of her mother. May I offer my commiserations at your loss, as I could not in the brevity of a telegram. By the kind permission of the most honourable Arthur Holmwood, I have been reading Miss Lucy's correspondence, and there are some matters arising from your time at Whitby that I would wish to discuss with you. Matters that may have some bearing upon your husband's experiences in Transylvania. May I visit you at your home in Exeter at some time when your husband is absent, so that we may talk freely and without fear of causing him any distress? Yours, Abraham Van Helsing.
"25th September. I telegraphed the professor to come this morning, and he has indeed come and gone. Jonathan for now is none the wiser, but that will change tomorrow. The professor and I talked for several hours, and he has taken the journal transcripts to peruse, vowing to return in the morning to discuss them fully with us both before returning to London. I feel from having met him that he is a good man and very charming. For as he left, he said the most romantic thing. He looked me in the eyes and said, 'Madam Mina, there are darknesses in life and there are lights. You are one of the lights.' Were I not deeply in love with my dear husband, I swear I might have swooned."
25th September, 6 o'clock. Dear Madam Mina, I have been reading your husband's most compelling account and felt I could not wait until morning to give you my verdict upon it. You may sleep without doubt. Strange and terrible as it is, I believe it to be the absolute truth. You have given me much to consider, and I look forward to meeting with your husband in the morning. He is a most remarkable gentleman. Yours most sincerely, Abraham Van Helsing.
26th of September. I thought never to write in this diary again, but it seems the time has come. Last night when I got home, Mina had supper ready, and after we had supped, she told me of Professor Van Helsing's visit, and of her having given him the 2 diaries copied out, and of how anxious she has been for me. Then she showed me the Professor's letter. It seems to have made a new man of me, for I'm no longer afraid, or even of the Count. Professor Van Helsing is the man to unmask him, to hunt him out. After meeting with him this morning, I've no doubt of that. And when the time comes, he shall not stand alone against the creature.
29th of September. Today, I received a summons from Professor Van Helsing to meet him in his rooms at the Great Western Hotel. He offered no explanation other than that it was of the utmost importance and that he asked it in Lucy's name. It was 10 o'clock in the morning when I arrived to find that Arthur and Quincy had also been summoned and were there with the Professor awaiting my arrival.
Gentlemen, you all loved Miss Lucy, which is why I invoked her name in summoning you here. Miss Lucy's death was a great tragedy. But we must act now to prevent an even greater tragedy.
Greater tragedy? I lost the woman I loved. What tragedy could be greater than that?
That others may suffer the same fate or worse because we fail to act. We have a grave duty upon us this night, one that only we can do.
Grave duty, Professor? What grave duty?
Do not ask, my friend. You must trust that I know what I ask of you, even if you do not know all that I ask. We 4 must embark on a most perilous expedition this very night.
To where, Doc? Deepest Peru?
Not as far as that, Mr. Quincy P. Morris. We must travel in secret to the churchyard at Hampstead.
The churchyard? Where Lucy is buried?
Quite so, my friend. Once there, we must enter her tomb and open her sarcophagus.
Dear God, to what purpose?
To what purpose? Why, to do what must be done to save poor Miss Lucy's soul, to save her immortal soul. I know I begin to sound like one of dear John's patients, but you must believe me when I tell you this. The danger we face is as real as it is ancient, as deadly as it is utterly fantastic. Well, so fantastic you will not believe it is real until you witness it for yourselves.
And you say we'll find it there in the dock? In the crypt dock?
You will see a part of it, my friend, and then you will understand why what must be done must be done.
I don't pretend to understand everything that you're talking about, Doc, but I've never run from a fight before, and I don't intend to start now. For Lucy's sake, I'll come with you.
And I.
And I. But on one condition. It is I who will decide what must be done. There shall be no act performed towards Lucy without my express permission. If you are so sure of your position, of our acceptance of what you believe to be real, you will at least grant me that.
I grant you that caveat, sir, without reservation.
And if you're wrong, Professor?
None would be happier than I, my friend. But I am not wrong. You may depend upon it.
It was 12:15 when we clambered over the churchyard wall and approached the crypt. We were about to enter when Arthur put his hand up to forestall us. At first I wondered whether proximity to a place full of such terrible memories had got the better of him, but it soon became clear that he wanted to make the initial investigation alone. When he emerged, his face was ashen.
The coffin. Lucy's coffin. It's empty. Where is she? Enough of your dumb lies and evasions! Where is she?
Have you come to me at last, my love? Have you come to find me? I am here, my love. I've been waiting for you to come to me, and now you are here. Do you not recognize me, my love? Have I changed so much?
Lucy? Dear Lord in heaven, Professor, it's Lucy!
It can't be Quincy.
It is not her. It is a demon in her form.
What are you talking about? It's Lucy, alive once more. Dear God, by some miracle, alive once more.
Come to me, Arthur. Leave these others and come to me. My arms are hungry for you. I ache for you. Come close, and we may rest together. Come close, dear husband. Let me kiss you.
No! Be down! You all saw the creature that Miss Lucy has become. Left alone, she will kill and create more like herself, corrupted and cursed. But we can release her from that curse. We cannot save her body, but we can yet save her soul. Though she has fed on the urchins of this city, she has not yet tarnished her soul with their deaths. Arthur Holmwood, I swore I would do nothing without your expressed consent. I ask of you now, am I to proceed with my work?
No, Professor. We shall all proceed with your work, for it's our work now.
We followed Van Helsing into a tomb. Lucy, or rather the creature she had become, had taken refuge in her coffin. It proved a poor haven for her. We held her down, and the professor removed a mallet and a sharpened wooden stake from the bag he had brought with him. He held the point of the stake over her heart and drove it home. Contorted in rage and pain until she fell silent, and her face underwent a miraculous transformation, as if the demon had released its grip on her soul, and we could see the face of the Lucy that we all loved so dearly looking up at us once more. Arthur kissed her farewell on the forehead, and we replaced the lid onto her coffin, where she shall finally rest in peace.
That is one step of our work done. But there remains a greater task: to seek out the author of all our sorrows and destroy him. 2 nights hence at 7 o'clock we shall meet at the home of friend John here. For it is our good fortune that our adversary has made his lair close to the asylum. We know this thanks to 2 allies who will be joining us there. Allies whose lives have also been touched by this evil.
This evil you speak of, Professor, does it have a name?
It does, my friend. It is vampire. It is Nosferatu. It is the undead. And its name is Count Dracula.
Purfleet, 1st October. At last I have met poor Lucy's suitors in person, although I could have wished for it to have been under happier circumstances. We have talked much of our dear friend and comforted each other for the grief and horror that we have all suffered at the hands of the Count. They have each now read Jonathan and my journals and letters, and we theirs, so we can all see with terrible clarity the web of evil that has been woven about us all by this creature. Tonight, we sat as an enclave at Professor Van Helsing's behest to settle on a plan of action. The professor began with a most comprehensive lecture on vampire lore, their powers, their weaknesses, their needs. It seems the Count shall be a most formidable foe.
So it was fortunate that poor Miss Lucy had not time to master her new powers. Otherwise, we may not have survived our encounter with her.
But the Count will be in full possession of his faculties, and whilst your poor Lucy had one resting place and could easily be found, the Count has 50 boxes of Transylvanian earth in which to rest. Boxes which may have already been dispersed to properties around London.
You say they came here to Carfax from Whitby a few days ago. Yes. Well, if they're still here, we have the monster at our mercy.
At a disadvantage, perhaps, friend John, if we can keep him ignorant of what we know and use that knowledge to our advantage.
What in God's name? Quincy, damn it! Apologies, friends. Oh, ma'am. But something caught my eye outside the window, so I thought I'd best to go investigate what it was. Turns out it was the biggest damn bat I'd ever seen in my life. So I took a pot shot at it.
And did you hit it?
Nah, didn't even wing it. But it flew off into the woods, though.
We cannot delay any further. Tonight we must make our way into Carfax and locate those boxes. Learn if we can contain the threat here, or we have to hunt further abroad.
But what if the Count's waiting for us, Doc?
With luck, he will be otherwise occupied.
Oh, you mean hunting?
What of the poor souls he hunts? Poor souls like Lucy.
Their best hope is for us to destroy this monster. Our best hope is to find those boxes. We must risk it, or we may lose all.
And if we do find them, sir, what then?
We shall use the host, the body of Christ, to sterilize them. We'll break it up and sprinkle it into the boxes. It will consecrate the soil, make it anathema to him. With nowhere to rest, he will be weakened, vulnerable.
And then we can destroy it.
Yes, my friend. Yes, we can.
Professor, what of Mina? Do you intend to expose her to such danger?
Oh, no, Mr. Harker. Dear Madam Mina, you are far too precious to us all for that.
I would argue the point, but I see from all your faces that you are in complete accord. Very well then. Dr. Seward, in your journal you spoke of your patient, Miss Renfield, was it?
Octavia Renfield? Yes. What of her?
There was some suggestion that she may form some connection with the Count. While you gentlemen are away on your mission, might I be permitted to interview this woman? Perhaps I may glean some useful information from her. Information that she might have been reluctant to share with her doctor.
I see no harm in it, provided you do not enter her cell. Miss Renfield has been calm and composed of late, but she can be unpredictable, and on occasion, violent.
Dr. Seward need not have worried, for I found Miss Renfield calm and almost Buddha-like on the floor in the middle of her cell. Miss Renfield? Miss Renfield? Octavia?
You are not Dr. Seward.
No, I am not Dr. Seward, but he has given me permission to speak with you. May I?
Are you his Miss Lucy?
You know of her?
I know that he loved her. No, you cannot be her. She's dead.
Yes, she is. How did you know?
How did I know that he loved her? Or how did I know that she's dead? In either case, the answer is the same. The conversations the good doctor and I have shared have perhaps been more revealing of his mental and emotional state than of mine. He is, after all, a man before he is a physician. No, you must be Madam Mina.
I am.
He likes you. He doesn't love you, as he did his Miss Lucy, but he cares for you. Madam Mina, you must tell the doctor to release me.
Release you? Why?
For your sake. I am a danger to you.
You wish me harm?
No. No. I wish you long life and happiness with your husband. That is why you must tell the doctor to release me. For out in the world, I am no threat to you. But in here, I would imperil your very soul.
How so?
My master would wish it.
Just who is your master, Miss Renfield?
Do not ask me that. I cannot tell you. You know. He understands me. He understands my very desires. He has promised me so much. Rats, cats, a dog, and more. So much more. So many lives to consume. So many lives. you. He wants you for himself. But he will use me. He will use me if you are still here when he comes for you. I beg you, speak to the doctor. Tell him to release me at once, this very moment, this very hour, for your sake.
He is not here.
Then I have done all I can, save to pray for your soul. For my master is coming.
I do not know whether this master she speaks of is truly the Count, or simply a coincidental invention of her deluded mind. But I shall have to bring our conversation to the good doctor's attention when he and the others return. Meanwhile, suddenly fatigued, I have retired to my bedroom. I pray they return soon, for if they do not, Jonathan will find me quite asleep.
2nd of October. We were, at least in part, successful in our venture last night. We located some 49 of the boxes in the estate stables and rendered them unusable by our enemy. However, the location of the final box still eludes us. There are further buildings to be searched, buildings which prove to be both soundly built and securely locked. Mr. Quincy P. Morris has been dispatched to obtain a set of skeleton keys from a locksmith of his acquaintance, so that tonight we may carry on our search.
10 p.m. Last night I slept, but did not dream. I must have slept soundly, for I was not waked by Jonathan coming to bed, but the sleep has not rested me, for today I feel terribly weak and spiritless. I have not spoken of my interview with Miss Renfield. The menfolk are clearly concerned with the missing box of earth, and I have no desire to burden them further. Tonight, I was not so sleepy as I should have been, so I asked Dr. Seward for a mild sleeping draught. I hope I have not done wrong, for as sleep begins to flirt with me, Miss Renfield's words return to haunt me, and I wonder that I might have been foolish in thus depriving myself of the power of waking. I might want it.
3rd of October. Miss Renfield is dead. One of the attendants called me to her cell this morning, where I found her lying in a glittering pool of blood, her back smashed, her face a bloody pulp, as if she had thrown herself against a wall repeatedly, or had been thrown. Whether suicide or murder, what had precipitated it? As I examined her body for some clue, I found a piece of paper held tightly in her fingers. How she came by pencil and paper, I could only imagine. But when I read the message, I ceased to care.
Look to Mother Mina, or my master will take her to his breast, and you will lose her to him for all eternity.
The fiend is on the run. Although we have paid a heavy price for our victory, when dear John showed me that poor wretch's scribbled note, I suspected what it might mean. So I summoned our enclave together. Dear Madam Mina, please forgive the neglect that we have subjected you to these past nights.
Do not give it a second thought, Professor. I am only too aware of the urgency and necessity of our task. If I am neglected, it is by my own choice.
Nevertheless, Miss Renfield's sad passing has reminded me that you are not beyond danger here. We must make sure to give you some sort of protection against our adversary, should he somehow gain entry here.
But surely he cannot do that, Professor, not without being invited. Or do you now believe you're mistaken in that regard?
I merely wish to err on the side of caution, my dear. Please, would you do me the personal favour of wearing this cross for your protection? It is at least less fragrant than a garlic necklace.
What have you done to her?
It is not me, Mr. Harker. It is the Count. She is in his thrall.
But how?
Miss Renfield. The Count seduced her somehow and she invited him in, whilst we were absent. Is that not so, demon?
Damn you, sir! Take your hands off my wife! Harker, stop! The professor knows what he's doing.
Speak, demon! Speak to your enemy!
You think yourself an enemy, a threat to my dominion. I am a warrior, a general. I have battled savages and barbarians through the centuries. I have bathed in their blood and emerged victorious. You, an enemy? You are a minor inconvenience, nothing more. You think to confound me. You, with your pale faces, all in a row like sheep in a butcher's. You will be sorry yet, each one of you. This woman that you love belongs to me. She has tasted my blood and is bound to me for eternity. And she will be but one of many. You think you have left me without a place to rest? You are wrong. When I return, you will know fear. You will know despair. And then you will know death!
He fears us. The devil fears us. Well, did you not hear? He said, when I return. He's running from us!
Professor Van Helsing! What has happened to Mina? What has the creature done to my wife?
She has drunk his blood. Their souls, their minds are connected. It is how he can talk to us through her.
Professor, why did the cross burn me? Am I like him? Am I like Lucy?
No, not yet. And if we succeed in destroying this monster, you never shall be.
And if you do not?
Then your soul will be his for eternity. And when you die...
I shall become like Lucy, like those women in the castle. Abraham, Quincy, Arthur, John, Jonathan. You will understand me when I say that if the time comes, you must show me the same mercy you showed our dear Lucy. You must promise me that when that time comes, you will destroy what I have become. Swear it.
We swear it, my love. He shall not have you.
You say he is running, Professor. Where did he run to?
Yeah, down here anywhere, I see.
Not so, friend Quincy. But think, my friends, he has but one box of earth remaining. He knows we are looking for him, hunting him, so he cannot feed with impunity. He was a soldier, a general. He's at a tactical disadvantage. What would he do?
He would seek to strengthen his position.
He would regroup, resupply. Son of a gun! He's going home!
Professor, I can still feel him, still feel his presence. He does not seek to control me. His mind is elsewhere now, distracted.
You can sense him. Can you sense where he is? Close your eyes. Can you see him? Can you see where he is?
I cannot see anything, only darkness. But I feel confined, restricted. And I hear flapping of sheets. Sheets on a washing line? No, sails. They are sails. The world sways. I hear footsteps on wood overhead. Back and forth. Men working. And I hear singing. A shanty? Professor, they're on a sailing ship. Below decks on a sailing ship.
And he can have only one destination. Transylvania. Castle Dracula.
Then we shall pursue our quarry to his lair, or run him to ground before he reaches his imagined safe haven. And then we shall destroy this monster once and for all.
5th of October. Chase is on. The only ship heading towards the Black Sea and setting sail today is the Serena Catherine. The harbour master, a two-little dark-coated strange tale man, tall with burning eyes, desperate to book passage for himself and a large wooden box. He's ahead of us, but we know where he's heading.
We must take Mina with us, for she is a valuable source of intelligence. But we must be careful. Through her, we may be able to discover the Count's plans, but may he not also discover ours? And the closer we come to him, the greater his influence over her may become. Already I see the faint signs of the vampire upon her. We must take the risk.
We know where he and his cargo are headed, Varna. By taking a steamer across the channel and onward by train, we overtook the Tsarina Catherine, and we await its arrival. We shall have him at our mercy, and he will receive precious little of it.
Thank God we won't have to worry about trouble from officials. This is a country where bribery can get you anywhere, and we have plenty supply of money. Judge Moneybags will settle this case, I think.
We are forestalled. The Count's ship bypassed Varna and landed at Galatz. It is as I feared. The Count has been using Miss Mina against us, just as we've been using her against him. He knows we are coming.
Made Galatz in good time, but not good enough. The Count and his cargo are already journeying upriver, transported by Slovaks. Arthur and Harker have hired a boat and pursue on water. Jack Seward and I have acquired horses and follow the bank to be there to receive our prey, shall they fail to catch up. The Dock and Magdalena go by rail, then by wagon to Castle Dracula to be there to receive him, shall we fail. Oh, should we fall?
It is a wild adventure we are on, here as we rush along through the darkness, with the cold from the river seeming to rise up and strike us. All the while, mysterious voices from the night seem to surround us. It is all coming home. We seem to be drifting unto unknown places and unknown ways, into a whole world of dark and dreadful things.
3 days on the road. Still no sign of the Count's boat, or any news of Arthur and Jonathan. Winter is coming in, and there's a sense of snow in the air. If it falls heavy, it will stop us. We shall have to find a sledge and go on Russian fashion.
After 5 days of arduous, relentless travel, Mina and I finally arrived at Castle Dracula. But I am beset by doubt. Have we overtaken the Count? Or has he outwitted us, outwitted me? All is not as it should be. Jonathan spoke of having to climb the walls to escape this place. But when we arrived before the castle's enormous gates, they stood, yawning open, as if this edifice had been abandoned, not just by the Count, but by his brides too. Are we too late? Or does the Count seek to fool us into thinking that we are? Is this place to be our trap for the Count, or his trap for us? And are we to await compatriots who may never come to discover which?
Welcome to my house, Abraham Van Helsing. Enter freely and of your own will.
Come, sister, join us.
Come to us, Mina, my dear.
Get behind me, Magdalena. I shall protect you.
You cannot protect her. She is mine, my chattel, my plaything, my bride. You cannot help her. You cannot save her. Any more than you could save your Miss Lucy with your crosses and your garlic and your blood transfusions. But then, you could not save yourself, Abraham Van Helsing.
You fear me, Count Voivode Dracula.
I fear you? I fear no one. I fear nothing.
Yet you fled from England, from us, from me. You fear me, Count, just as you feared Madame Olga, just as you fear anyone who knows you for what you are. Just as you fear those who will not abase themselves before you in superstitious terror. You are a coward, Count. You hide in the shadows. You hide behind your wolves. You hide behind your brides.
I am the shadows. I am the wolves. I am my brides. I am the Prince of Darkness. And you, Abraham Van Helsing, are in my domain, naked and alone.
I am Professor Abraham Van Helsing. No, I am not naked. I am clothed in my knowledge, armored by my faith. And Jesus says, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not be in darkness, but will live in the light of life. The dawn is here, Prince of Darkness.
But dear Lucy, the sweet Lucy, my Lucy!
I am Count Dracula.
The coffin. My Lucy's coffin is empty.
Lord, help us. It's as if my crew evaporates into thin
You
air.
are a fool, Count.
Oh, my dearest Mina, what happened? My child, your husband was ill, delirious. My daughter's blood.
I am the shadows. I am the world.
You must promise me that when the time comes, you will destroy what I have become.
I have faith that it will leave you forewarned and forearmed for a battle that I pray you never have to fight.
And as the blows fell, the Count crumbled into dust before our eyes. A dust that billowed up into the dawn's light, spreading like a silver mist, thinner and thinner, until it could be seen no more.
And I looked at the mark of the cross, burnt into the hand of my beloved wife, and saw it fade away to nothing, as if it had never existed.
You were freed from the creature's influence.
So it seemed. But was I? Or had he severed the connection between us somehow, so that he could fool us all and escape?
But you searched the castle.
The professor insisted that we did, to be assured of our success. We found nothing. But who knows what dark secrets lie hidden within the walls of that castle? And we were sure of our success.
And yet now you doubt it. Why?
In recent months, my hand, it begins to trouble me, and I have begun to have bad dreams. I feel as though there is a dark presence, waiting, just out of sight.
My dear lady, you are simply tired, exhausted from your journey and your illness. You need rest. Come, let me help you to bed.
You will keep it safe, Reverend Mother. Agatha, you will keep it safe and keep a watchful eye for signs of him. Promise me that you will.
I do. I shall. I have. Bless you, dear lady. In my Lord's name. Master, can you hear me?
I hear you, my dear Agatha.